Before I begin, I want to start by pointing out that if you look at the history of management and leadership training, it appears like it's gone through several generations. The first generation of management and leadership training basically talked about related to employees as economic entities. So the only thing we were concerned about was how can we stimulate greater productivity and efficiency through incentives and training and all of that. The next generation of management and leadership training expanded its view of people and embraced them as social entities as we began to recognize that people form relationships at work, and those relationships create a distinct culture at the workplace. The third generation of management and leadership training started viewing people as bundles of competencies. So organizations analyzed jobs and looked at what were the critical competencies that made for superior performance in any job. And having determined that, the training was about helping people acquire those competencies, that would enable them to perform effectively. Then came the dawning of another era with Daniel Goleman's work on emotional intelligence. How many of you heard of the phrase emotional intelligence? And Daniel Goleman began to view people as emotional entities, awakening us to the fact that within an organizational setting, there's a very subterranean exchange of emotions that goes on, between people, and being attuned to that level of reality is a very important part of one's effectiveness. Now, I'm happy to share with you that we are on the threshold of another explosion or breakthrough, if you will, where we have gone beyond the earlier four stages that I enumerated, and we are now relating to people as embodiments of pure consciousness. What is consciousness? Consciousness is not behavior. Consciousness is not the knowledge you have. Consciousness is not the skills that you have. It is something that is almost like part of the invisible part of the iceberg that you cannot see, but that drives so much of behavior. So my presentation today will be to share with you just 4 simple awakenings, as I call them, that help us see the enormous power that our inner consciousness, which is usually not visible to anybody else, and sometimes not even to ourselves, can have in shaping the realities we live in.